Hey, everybody. Believe it or not, this is episode 150 of Mastering Local Marketing. I'm Jim Deedlow, owner of Heartland Sports and WJOB Radio and Podcast. And he is Matt Hansen, a professor at Purdue Northwest here in Hammond and one of the original, pioneers in digital marketing. Matt, good to see you.
Good to see you. I think it's funny we're at 150. You told me we had to do, 20?
Every day I show up, it's almost like I took 2 classes from him and getting my MBA later in life because I was on the campus, our business was, and I just started going to classes, and next thing you know, I got an MBA. But I'm surprised that you have put so much into this, and you've put so much, just to give everybody a context, Matt's so into it. He teaches the exit course at Purdue. You got to take that in business to get out. And it's a podcasting course now.
Yep. Yeah, it's fun. We have a blast in there. So we launched 10 podcasts. They did paid social, they did own social, they did analysis, and one of the things that we're talking about today is one of their assignments that they actually had to do. So, this is real coursework, but quite honestly, this is something that I do on a weekly basis. I'm constantly doing this. So, yeah.
So Reddit we're going to talk a lot about that, can feel like chaos, complaints, jokes, rants, and random opinions. But hidden inside all of that noise may be something every business owner wants. What customers actually think when they are not being sold to. In this episode of Mastering Local Marketing, we look at whether Reddit is a useful place for marketing ideas or just another source of internet gossip. The answer depends on what you look for, how you listen, and whether you know the difference between a real insight and a loud opinion. Why Reddit?
So Reddit has evolved over the last few years, right? So when you look at social media, and I consider Reddit social media, when you look at social media, I think we've gotten to that point where we just don't trust it anymore, right? Like you go on Instagram,
that's the reason that I'm
Facebook.
getting a resurgence in traditional brands. People want traditional brands, basically, that can run, police social media in some way. I just got off the phone with somebody saying that we're coming back to wholesome values, wholesome brands. And if you are a small to medium-sized brand and you've been around for a while and you're like, oh, my gosh, it's been so tough, competing in a changing digital marketplace, you still have to learn all of that. But you have that. If you have that long-time brand, it's becoming more and more valuable right now. But anyways, I do interject.
So social media feels like it's, with the rise of AI and everything, right? I see things on social constantly that I'm just like, that's not real. Or, we follow the Bears because we're right outside Chicago. You see things all the time. It's like, oh, rookie goes down for a year. And I'm just like, stop. What is this, a walk-on that from 3 years ago? You just stop believing a lot of the stuff that's popping up.
It's all about sports.
Well, pretty much. But when you go over to Reddit and you type up anything into Reddit, you will start to see real people's reactions back to it. So I've got the computer in front of me today just because I wanted to kind of bring up some of this stuff. And I just typed up local marketing. And the first thing that pops up, it says 9 months into local business marketing, struggling to get clients, need a chance. There's 49 comments under that. And what happens with Reddit is there are authentic people that will get in there. You're going to get the smart Alex every once in a while that will say, go out of business. But you'll get people that will say, I had the exact same problem, and here's one thing that I did. So you start to get a lot of advice, good or bad, but you start to get, you start to learn a bunch of new ways that you can start to think about how to go out there and market your business. And this could be for marketing. It can be about accounting, financial issues with your business. It can be, a million different things. But there are, when I scroll through here, there's just thousands and thousands and thousands of threads on here of people that are commenting about local marketing, local business owners, all this other stuff. So there's all of this really good research on Reddit that you can go to and start to understand. There are other people like me, which you already know that, but they're struggling in the same areas I am. And then you'll start to hear from others. I mean, it's why you tune into this podcast, because you want to hear from people that have done it, that have seen, that we've been successful. But that's what Reddit has as well. People will chime in, they'll share, I did this and it worked really well. And you start to build your arsenal of things that you can go do and test. And it's free, right? Like, you don't even have to sign up for an account. You can just go over to Reddit and search things. Whereas stuff like Meta, you start searching and, next thing you know, it's telling you to sign in to Instagram, Facebook, whatever. But it's free. So just go use it. And I know Adriana was in the podcast class, and one of the things that they had to do was they had to go out and search social. And I gave them Reddit. I said, you have to follow 3 different feeds and start to learn about what you're about to do, because that will give you insights as to where to take your podcast. So how'd that go for you?
It was really interesting because depending on what topic you picked up podcasting, everybody's going to have different opinions. Everybody's going to have different viewpoints. So it's kind of like falling down a rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. And because it's Reddit, you're going to have some people that are very into detail, some people that are not as into detail. And then you start to see some patterns and you start to see some trends. And then from there, that's how you kind of, based on like a research standpoint, that's how you figure out what pathway you want to take when looking at your podcast topic, and then branching out of just the kind of niche that you want to go into and exploring others as well to see what they're doing and how it differs from yours and what the pros and cons of each one is.
Right. Yeah. It really just becomes a conversation piece with the world at that point, where, like, if you're sitting in your business, you're sitting in your office, you're sitting at home, you can't pick up the phone and just talk with a variety of people that are having the same issues that you're having. So Reddit actually allows you to go into the homes, the offices of other people, because they've already shared it. And like you said, there are some that will share very small details. They'll say, well, I don't have a sales problem anymore because I'm good. Good for you.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, good for you. I'm proud of you. Thanks for the help.
Here's a cookie.
Yeah, exactly. So, but there are others that'll say, you know what, I struggled with that for 3 years, and here's the one thing that I did that worked really well. I did X, Y, Z. And all you have to do is just take that. That's a nice little nugget, put it on a piece of paper, and put it off to the side, right? Take a variety of like a Post-it note pad, and just write each and every one of them on, and just circle your computer with them.
So can I back it up for just a second? Because I'm once again thinking about maybe a small to medium-sized business owner that doesn't know all the different platforms. Mm-hmm. And they're like, gosh, I never used Reddit before. I mean, how do they get started?
Yeah, you just go over to RED, so red, like the color, and then DIT, so it's reddit.com. And then at the very top, you'll have a search bar, just like Google and Yahoo and MSN and all that. And you just search whatever you're looking for. So, I searched local marketing on here. I can search all kinds of things, right? The last podcast, we were talking about the fact that I'm going in for gallbladder surgery. I can type up gallbladder surgery diet, and immediately I'm going to start seeing all kinds of things pop back up. And it's funny because that actually is caused me some concern, because some people are like, well, it depends on your body, which is always fun. But we're talking about marketing. And when it comes to marketing, there are enough people out there that have tried pretty much everything you're going to try. Let them do the upfront work and learn from them, because quite honestly, if you say, all right, well, I've never done advertising on Facebook and I want to try it. Okay, go into Reddit and spend a day just reading about what people have done, and just take notes. Here are the things to avoid. Here are the things that worked for me. Here are the steps to go about setting things up, because a lot of people won't even know how to get into they're boosting posts, but they're not getting into the advertising platform in Meta. So if you have all these questions, if you're a text, if you like to read and understand, like really understand that kind of thing, that it's great. Now, a lot of people will also say, well, what about YouTube? And that's fine. YouTube is great for people that want to watch a video on it, but you're 10 minutes into something and you're like, it's not quite what I wanted. So Reddit is really kind of short and sweet, and you can put links. They've got links that'll go over to a YouTube video or something like that.
So what if the business owner just has a question like, you know what, I've never used mailers, and I have a hair salon. Does any hair salons out there use mailers? How do they do that? Just ask a question?
You just say hair salon, direct mail. And I guarantee you
No, but I mean, if they wanted to, if they wanted to put up a post that other people could comment on, how would they do that?
Yeah, so to do that, you actually have to register, right? Sign up. But once you're signed up, obviously you can comment and share whatever you want to be. So, we share all of our content through a podcast. That's the deliverable that we've chosen to use. We put it through the radio as well. We could sit here on Reddit every single day and just chime in and answering questions and all of that stuff. And there's a lot of people that do that. You talk about your HVAC guy all the time. He could get on here. He's not selling across the world, but if he really wanted to sell across the world, he could get on here and provide comments and all of those types of things. So there are plenty of people that will get on here and become the experts in their area and start to share all of this insight, and people start to kind of follow them and want to understand, oh, well, this person always has the right answer that helps me. I don't have the time for that. I think it's great, those people that do, but they monetize it over time.
So you're looking at Reddit, you searched in, and you're seeing, oh, wow, this guy did that. This woman had this business. Oh, this person made gluten-free cookies, and she ran into this problem. That's where I'm going to make local gluten-free cookies. Or better yet, local, for me personally, local gluten-free beer would be a good one. But that is a niche. People have tried everything with it, and I've talked to a bunch of people because I have to do that, be gluten-free. But let's come back to one of your main tenets, which is trying to find pain points. How can you use Reddit in that search?
Yeah, well, I mean, when you put in local marketing, for example, earlier I searched it, and you start to see all the pain points. I've tried this. I've tried that. I struggled here. I made this mistake, right? And you'll see all of that in there. A lot of people share the struggles that they've had. And what ends up happening is if you say, oh, well, Facebook advertising doesn't work, and then a couple more comments down will say, well, can you answer these questions? How did it not work? What kind of ads did you put up there? What was the pain point you were targeting? What was the landing page? Did you spend $5 and call it quits? Right? Like all of these. So it's almost, I want to say, where somebody will make a comment and the general consensus will come in and say, okay, well, tell us more so we can help you fix that. If you just spent $5 and said it didn't work, I sell $10,000 HVAC systems. I spent $5 on Facebook and it didn't work. That's not going to work. Let's be honest, right? Like you got to put some money into it and all that other fun stuff. But you will see every pain point in here. I mean, and you'll see reoccurring language, which is really interesting. So you may put something out there in an ad that the way you say it. And I use the word pain point all the time. There may be people listening right now that don't know what a pain point is, right? Like my former dean, she had never heard the term pain point. Well, she wasn't in marketing. And I said, well, a pain point is something that you're struggling with that you want to get solved. And she's like, oh, I love that term. So by the time she left, she went to another school. She was using pain point in meetings all the time. But when you look in Reddit, you'll hear the pain points that people have, right? So if I type it local marketing, you'll see I'm struggling with getting more sales. I'm struggling with my social media advertising. I'm struggling with my pricing. Those are pain points that are in there. but you'll start to see how people are referencing certain terms, the way they're asking the questions. Because if you're, let me put it this way. If I put on there for episode 151 a question from something that came off of Reddit, and it says, I can't solve my sales problem and I'm going to go out of business. If I'm just picking something. That makes you go, I wonder what that's about, right? I want to learn more about that. And then next thing you know, I can literally go into Reddit, type that in, and see the 50 comments that have gone in there and go, okay, that's the direction that we need to go with that episode. So even something as simple as a podcast episode, I can go into Reddit and see, well, what are people talking about? Let's pick that one. Let's talk about that one today. And here's all the things they said, and you take notes from it. And we kind of create these little outlines to go with, but we can discuss that. So we can actually like pull that out. So if you are a hairdresser, if you are a landscaper, you're a banker, whatever it may be, there are all kinds of discussions going on in here that will tell you how people are talking about it. And the way that they're talking about it in Reddit is the way that your advertising and your social posts need to be referencing it. If they're not using these fancy terms that you throw around in banking or acronyms that we throw around in marketing, they're I'm not getting enough clicks is different than what's your click-through rate, right? Like you have to understand how people are saying this. So I always say make it so simple that a third grader can understand you, but you'll see how people are talking about it. And you got to adjust your advertising, your messaging based on what people are saying in those Reddit feeds.
So is that what you mean by customer language?
Yes, without a doubt.
So, all right, let's look at something else you could figure out on Reddit. You're moving along in the funnel. And by the way, more and more I see that funnel everywhere. Upper funnel, lower funnel, mid funnel, that kind of thing. And the funnel, of course, is the big part of the funnel is awareness. The middle part is consideration. And then the bottom part is what normally do people use for that term?
I mean,
I use close, but it's not really.
I use customer. But
yeah, customer.
I mean, there's a variety of ways that you can look at it.
Awareness and consideration are fairly well established terms. Let's use customer on the bottom, and it could be used in any part of it. But when you're getting to that mid funnel, and you're like, well, and you're not getting some sales, you go to Reddit. What can Reddit tell you about mid-funnel stuff?
So when we're in that consideration stage, we're comparing different companies at that point. And what you're going to see is somebody it'll be one of two ways. You'll see somebody saying, well, I didn't buy that because of X, right? They'll give the reason they didn't buy from them. Or what you'll hear is, I bought that and here's why I regret it. Those are two different things, but those are two things that will help you in that consideration set. Because if you are solving that with, whether it's a guarantee or it's walking them through a warranty, you're walking them through your process, whatever it may be, those will help in that consideration set. So, again, we're pretty vocal. Look at reviews, look at Reddit, look at anything. I mean, people will tell you how they feel as they're buying, and people will tell you how they feel after they're buying. I mean, I read reviews all the time, and we were looking at something the other day, and my wife's like, what about this one? I go, there's 100 reviews. They're all 4 and 5 star. I don't believe it. And she's like, why? That means it's good. I go, no, there's got to be 1 or 2 really bad ones, because quite honestly, somebody's going to have a bad experience, right? So I actually, when I'm going through reviews, I look at the 3s because they're not necessarily discouraged, but they're realizing like something was amiss, right? And you're going to see that on Reddit. You're going to see what people say about either before they bought, I didn't buy this one because of this, or that this company offered this service or whatever it may be, these add-ons. or you're going to see them complaining about something that happened after the fact. And if you build all of those into your process, into your product or service, and you understand whether it's just the simple messaging during the sales process or it's the post-purchase evaluation part of it where you're still kind of dealing with them after the fact, understand you can pull that from Reddit and you can use that to your marketing advantage. It's a great way to do it.
Sum up Reddit.
Reddit is like taking millions and millions of people that have their you know how everybody gets really, I don't want to say cocky, but we're cocky when we're behind our keyboards because nobody can see us, right? I'm more off to like send something that's negative or whatever from my keyboard than I am to tell it to your face. You'll see real reactions. You'll see authentic human behavior on Reddit, and just dive deep. Spend an hour just diving into something that you're thinking about, and you'll understand it so much better than just trying to go find a YouTube video that's going to explain it, because you'll end up 8 minutes into a YouTube video and go, well, that was a waste. Let me go find another one. And, you know, if you're just reading a few comments, going down a thread on Reddit, you're going to go, all right, I'm in the right spot. So you spend 30 seconds instead of 8 minutes before you know whether or not you're in the right spot. Trust me, it is a free service. Use it. I mean, the information in there is amazing.
He's Matt Hansen. This is episode 150 of Mastering Local Marketing. If you want to have a topic or anything, you could just email me, Jed, at wjob1230.com. If you want to be a guest, a lot of times we'll bring some people on for 5 or 10 minutes. Hey, what are you doing? What do you got? But I do want to put a shameless plug. This is episode 150, and this is kind of a milestone for our producer, and that is Adriana Alvarez, runs the WJOB Podcast Network. This is our first one that actually got over 100 episodes. Now we're at 150. So congratulations to you. We just show up and do what you tell us. That's what should happen.
Yeah, there we go. Now we have to do a big celebration for the 200th.
All right, so I want you to tell
people the cake discussion again.
I don't want to do that. It's got to be a gluten-free cake. I'll eat all the frosting, and he'll eat none of it. Hey, listen, tell people if they're listening and they're like, gosh, I might want a podcast or something. How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you get a hold of me at Adriana at WJOB1230.com. If you have an interest in a podcast and or have an idea that you want to float by, we can see what we can do. And from there, just get in contact with us. We are trying to get a lot of different voices, a lot of different shows out there, just so that way we can kind of tell everybody's story.
Yep, and our prices are lower, certainly lower than Chicago, which is just a few miles to our northwest. And we also have the distribution that we, of course, post them all on Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube and that kind of thing. But we also play them on our radio stations. So there's a reason that Adriana has over 20 podcasts now, and she wants to go to 30. Maybe you're going to be one of them. Till next time, we'll see you later.